Do you want to be living the lifestyle of your dreams? Well, it is a choice. It's a decision that you make because you decide that lifestyle is actually really important to you. Now, most people, and I would say the vast majority of people, do not even use that word when they're trying to, plan out their businesses and what they're creating, their bigger visions. No, they're often focused on how much money they can make, having certain stability, having certain benefits through jobs, the whole employee model. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but if you are listening to my videos, you're probably going, well, wait a second, I want something different. I want something more. And perhaps it's just that I want something that really speaks to my soul and that allows me to express who I am in all aspects of my life, not just when I, leave my work and then go home or on weekends. No, they actually want to create from their fuller expression. And I have I chose really early on that lifestyle was a really important piece and a big part of why I started a business. Yes, I had a vision. Yes, there were certain services that I wanted to provide that I knew that I wouldn't be able to really provide by staying an employee. And yes, that decision was made a long time ago. But what I want to say today is that after all these years, and I look at it and I look at the kind of lifestyle I led and how I got to create on my own rhythms, how I got to really work with a lot of ways that I just am efficient and then use the rest of the time for my own growth, for my learning, for my creative abilities, for travel. Like that's been absolutely amazing. And the kind of funny thing is that not very many people actually know how I spend my time. And they just assume that it's a lot of really hard work. And of course there is work. And of course there are times that it has been hard. I wasn't looking for a walk in the park, right? To me, actually, there were probably at least one or two jobs that I could have stayed at for decades if I wanted, and maybe even ended up retiring there if that's the life I wanted. But it did not represent the lifestyle that I chose. It did not stay connected to my calling. My early jobs were really, I did choose them out of calling because I made that decision probably around the age 19 or 20 that I really wanted to do work that was, from my soul, that I would love to do. Knowing that I was going to spend, whatever number of hours every week there, I wanted it to be great. And so that decision was made early on. So yes, I had a couple of jobs that were, where I was an employee, but they were so aligned because that's what I was looking for. And I would not take something that felt like I would end up being in some kind of mold that I really didn't fit in. And then, of course, I started my business. And again, it was like, well, who am I? What am I ready to express? What is my calling here? What can I deliver and create for companies at the time and now individuals that I don't believe they can get anywhere else, that I haven't seen maybe a single service that can offer that level of quality and depth. Yes, you can maybe hire 5 people, but I was able to do things for companies and individuals that are simply holistic. Holistic meaning many things are tended to so that there is a natural output that not only provides a result, but actually harmonizes and aligns the rest of that person's world so that everything begins to work together. And there is a sense of efficiency and ease. And so, again, a lot of people who do come to work with me, they don't want to be working 100-hour weeks. That's just not who they are. And if they are like very busy, it's because a lot of those hours are actually creative hours, or where they're learning, where they're growing, maybe they're traveling, right? So they may have very active lives, but it's not like they're working and hustling, all week, every day. That's not simply the kind of people who come to me, because that's not the way I choose. I do choose things that provide and create a certain level of quality. A lifestyle is important to me, and so many people who work with me, lifestyle is important to them, as well as the calling of their soul, as well as the idea that they want to live into their fuller expression. Now, having worked in my own way for most of my adult life, where I choose my hours, I'm able to go by my rhythms because they are not 9 to 5. I allow that. Like I think even this morning, I started with some writing, and then I had some nourishment, and then I did some more things online, and then sometimes I'll take a walk, sometimes I'll go do an errand, and then then might have like 3 or 4 hours that are really intense, and then I may take another few hours off, and then maybe come back to it in the evening because I was inspired. So I've been able to kind of live this way for a very long time. And the funny part is, actually not many people actually know. A lot of people in my personal life have employees or more conventional businesses, and so they tend to run on whether it's 9 to 5 or just very kind of predictable set structures where they have to be at a location for 40 hours or more every week. And so they just assume that business is hard, it's not easy to live that. And I would say that it really depends on what you're built for, right? We all have rhythms and cycles that really speak to us. And when we're honoring them, I find that things are so much more productive, because we know, oh yeah, now I have energy, and so I can spend 4 straight hours on this. And another day, oh, you know what, I find I'm in a more say a logical, a routine kind of mood than the creative one. So I'm going to do these tasks. And this ability to be so free allows one to create the lifestyle that really fits them for personal reasons as well as professional reasons, for those dreams, like including, I want to be healthy and fit along with this. I don't want to be burnt out from work. And so there's time to be healthy and fit, because it does take time and energy and attention. And then there's, desires for travel, right? So, I've done a variety of things where if I want to go away for a certain amount of time, including once when I went away for 5 weeks to actually take an intensive course in Europe. And I was able to do that because I made the decision to do that for myself. I was willing to take to deal with the cost of that. And it wasn't such a huge cost at all, actually. And so to be able to design your world in a way that it actually benefits you and strengthens you over time instead of depletes you, that I think is a kind of luxury that a lot of people don't have. And another thing about this is that you can keep inspiring yourself, right? That's inspiring, reinventing, recreating, because there is so much in life to be excited about. And if you're in business offers so many opportunities where you can expand, add new services, add new tiers, really hone in on a certain niche, maybe something that you just love that may be completely in a way unusual or something, but because you love it and there's going to be people out there who love it as much, and maybe you only need 100 people, maybe you only need 1,000 people, but basically you allow yourself the freedom to create from what is really calling you, and that the inspirations and the downloads that come for you. That is a kind of living and a certain kind of lifestyle and work style that some people just absolutely thrive on. And, I've done such a variety of things from, early years being the employee to, being a consultant, but then being able to work wherever I want, to working at a university where suddenly I was having to like go in because I was delivering, content every day for, certain periods of time for certain courses, to doing one-on-one work where I work online a lot of the time now, and then do private intensives that could be at beautiful locations and in different cities. And this is because everything I chose came from like, oh, let's do this now. Let's do this now. I would enjoy that. And experimenting with it and not taking it so seriously, like, oh no, what's this going to do to my resume, which, of course, in the employee world, a lot of people are fearful of. And even in business, there's a lot of people who won't take the risk of really staying true to what keeps calling them, the ways they want to grow. And they get stuck in a business that actually they just no longer love. Like there's really not juice in it, but maybe it's making them money. But then it keeps costing them things. Maybe it starts costing them their health. Maybe they just lose their zest for life, right? So when I say lifestyle, I basically mean that you are moving and choosing and deciding and acting from who you really are and what is calling you from a deeper place. Because there's often this bigger picture that we can't even fathom, right? We often don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We just, we can predict it, we can hope for it, we can expect it, but that doesn't mean anything, right? So when we are moving more and navigating through our heart center, using our brain, using our whole system to make those choices, we are much more likely to end up in experiences that are fulfilling and really, again, create a lifestyle of our dreams. I remember, many years ago when I started working privately with people and coaching them, and, some of my clients were in jobs and now they wanted to start a business, for example. And I would ask them certain questions, whether obviously we have to talk about money, their vision of wealth, what they want in their business in terms of numbers and all of that. And sometimes I could see that there was a lot of tightness. And to my shock, like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you've had a job, you've had a steady income and, a decent income at least, if not more, then why on earth are you scared? Well, compared to, myself, who's been in a business that I have continued to evolve and change, and have had times where I really didn't know what was coming next. And so there was no predictability. There was no like regular paycheck every couple of weeks, at certain times. And yet I found these people who had so-called security way beyond what I was going through myself, that they were so afraid sometimes to spend some money. Were so afraid at the thought of, I may not know what's coming 3 months from now. And that made me realize that, all the promises that are made from that sense of security don't always pan out. Because, as things would turn for me, I actually had much more ability to adapt, to shift, to pivot, to create anew, to literally like make a new decision about what I wanted, the kind of lifestyle I wanted to live, than these people. And it's because of mindset. It's not saying that obviously I didn't always have the resources. Sometimes I did, but I had the mindset to open to these ideas and know that I can create them, because I know that it's literally a decision. A decision. It's like saying, I don't know, like say you're an artist and then suddenly you want to, be a public speaker, right? It's just a decision, and then you do certain steps, do certain trainings perhaps, practice in certain ways, and then you put yourself out there, right? I know that sounds simple, but like the essence, that's what it is, isn't it, right? And so what is your lifestyle? What is the dream lifestyle for you? And remember, you don't have to stick with it forever. 5 years down the road, maybe it'll change, right? We go through different seasons in our life, and we don't always want the same things, right? So be open and aware that you get to choose, and to choose by saying this is a lifestyle I want to live is a perfectly wonderful way to make decisions on where your business is going, on the directions you're going to go with it, on how much you expand it or how much you niche it. And you do it in a way that is going to support your thriving, because that's the best way that you're going to be able to deliver what it is that you love to deliver, what you're here to deliver, what you feel like I wouldn't want to do without this. So take this into consideration. Write it down right now. When you start watching this video, write down, what is the dream lifestyle? What are the factors? What would I be doing on a regular basis? Where would I be living? Where would I be traveling? Would I want to move? Who would I want to be working with? How many hours a week? How do I like to dress? What is the kind of communication I like? Write it out, note it out, and then start moving in that direction, because guess what? You can. And if you want some specific support in how to do this, click on the link below, and I'd be happy to connect if there is a match.